Hello there, and welcome to episode 247 of the FlameFlash.net podcast. I am yours truly, Flame Flash, and it's been a busy 9 days since we last recorded. Um, wow, where do I even begin? Let's touch on politics first, shall we? Because everything can be political, basically. Um, Iran's still an issue. It's still a quagmire that should never have existed in the first place. The weaponization fund may or may not be on the table. So the biggest thing on my mind right now is the fact that Los Angeles has a mayoral um, campaign. And in that mayoral campaign, the one Republican even getting some of the votes is getting a minute fraction of those votes because it's a blue city in a blue state. And yet the Republicans are going, "Wah, it's voter fraud." Guys, guys, okay, let's be frank here. Um, have you ever heard of a thing called projection? I know my ex loves to do that. And so it's pretty easy at this point for me to see that when it happens. Just the idea of claiming something is true, accusing something of the other group prior to doing it themselves. So, as an example, we have in the 2024 election a very strange pattern of some ballots going in that ignore all of the other offices and only vote for president. So that's kind of a red flag right there for the senators to still go blue, but the presidency to go red in some districts. Now, I'm not saying that there's voter fraud. I'm saying this is something statistically significant that should be looked at closer. The Electoral College has decided Trump is the current president of the United States. Whether he actually earned that or not, there is some circumstantial evidence indicating that may not be true. Or another one is that people are paid to go to like JD Vance's recent very empty rally, whatever that was called, Turning Point USA, the Kirk organization. The cameras were all, for the most part, very careful to make it look like he was talking to a big crowd, but he wasn't. And there have also been claims that quite a few people that were there in the crowd were paid. So, projection. Generally speaking, the only ones who are being accused of being paid, of having paid protesters, have been the Democrats, even though the Republicans seem to be the ones actually doing the paying. Or let's narrow it down further. especially since it's Pride Month, the far right conservative individuals seem to think that parents are forcing children to be members of the LGBT community because they themselves are authoritarian parents who refuse to listen to their children. Just look at Elon Musk and the daughter that he has attempted to erase from the internet just because she's trans. And he refuses to acknowledge her truth. A child, now adult, who has come out as that needs love, processing, and support to fully finalize that conclusion, not a lack of support, fighting, and pushing your own ideology down that child's throat. Wait, the fact that Catholic guilt is a saying is because of the authoritarian nature of those families that insist on the indoctrination of the children into the church rather than allowing the children to research and decide for themselves. Hello, Mr. Mello, who is crossing the camera. But all that to say, projection. The Republican need for projection is a very big red flag that when they are claiming the other side is doing something, you should really be looking closer at them and wondering what aspect of the wild claims are they themselves wanting to do. Speaker Johnson has even recently come out saying that the entitlements need to have another look at. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, that those need to be gutted or replaced or otherwise rearranged. Excuse me? So, again, for years, decades even, the Republicans have been claiming that the Democrats would be the ones to ruin these programs. Well, what really actually needs to happen is the Republicans have to stop giving socialistic handouts, oh, there it is, to their rich friends instead of helping everyone with government programs and safety nets. Republicans are only angry about safety nets when those safety nets don't benefit them or their kind. The owner of the Knicks invited President Trump to the game last night. This is June 9th, so that game was June 8th. And it's some kind of playoffs. My assumption is the Knicks are basketball. I shows how much I pay attention to sports. But what stood out to me in that news and why it even filtered my direction is that all of the security that was required to have the president there, one, proves we don't need a ballroom. If you can lock down that kind of an area and make it secure so the president can attend a basketball game publicly among other sports games, because he's attended quite a few, you don't need some kind of uber secure ballroom. And the Trump family, not the administration, needs to pay for the damage done to the White House, ethically speaking. Will they? No. But morally and ethically speaking, the West Wing should never have been demolished. It did not follow proper procedure to be demolished. And as has been heard in court, oh, if the Trump administration acts fast enough, it could tear down the Statue of Liberty. And nobody could do anything about it because the law is slow. Like, what the crap? No, that's not how things are supposed to work whatsoever. So, just no. Two, if they shut down that area, it not only inconvenienced fans, it cost a lot of businesses a lot of money. But because these businesses were not Trump funding businesses, not Trump supporting businesses, they were just businesses existing, trying to exist and make ends meet in this current economy, who cares? Trump even said himself, oh, they can go watch the game on TV because it's semi-free there instead of going to Madison Square Garden. I'm sorry, what? Boy, that guy's a man of the people, isn't he? The Thankfully, the mayor of New York set up kind of an emergency big screen somewhere else, and so at least some local fans got to watch. But the big traditional Madison Square party was sacrificed so the president could go take a nap in the VIP box lounge of the fellow billionaire and owner of the Knicks. Ugh. If you're watching the video, this one deserves a full Picard double face palm. I'm just so exasperated with the entire situation, with the entire level of corruption going on. We are not, as a country, angry enough yet. We just aren't. So, after inconveniencing everybody, he left early. He fell asleep in said box office. And here's the glorious part. He was booed during the national anthem. He was booed by his people, the rich. These seats weren't cheap. Some seats were going for $1 million. Some were going for 6,000. Like, there's the range. So if you have that much discretionary money to throw around to go to a thing like this, you're not poor. You're not middle class. So he was booed by his own people, the rich. Should being rich still be taxed into oblivion? Yes. But there are those out there that at least have a minor bit of decency left. They just wanted to spend money to go watch a basketball game, and that's it. Not allow said basketball game to become some big political mess. Head shake moment. Just Disgusting. And speaking of sports, the World Cup is in the United States. And for the country of the free, we are treating these out of country participants worse than Nazi Germany treated everybody visiting for the Olympics. Think about that. 1930s, pre World War II Germany treated the athletes that were visiting from around the globe with more respect than the United States is doing in 2026. Not only should we be more angry, but we should be worried, guys, on a national stage. We're the bad guys now. I'm not proud to be an American, for I'm not free. We're trapped. We're trapped in healthcare feudalism. We are trapped in soaring gas prices. I still go back and believe that all of this economic mayhem that is being foisted upon us is most likely the end goal is enough people get angry that he declares martial law, and that's that. Game over. Game over. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. But that mayoral race is a pretty big indication that the midterm elections and the results of said midterm elections aren't going to be respected or acknowledged. These people know what they're doing. They know they're tearing down our democracy, and they don't care because it's lining their pockets. They don't care that our food supply is at risk. Screwworms, which I guess is some kind of beef parasite, is back and hasn't been prevalent in the United States since the 1950s. But Doge and the Trump administration saw fit to end the programs that were protecting the United States from screwworms, and even invited beef from a country that is fighting screwworms heavily and doesn't have it under control and hasn't had it under control for ages into the United States. Thank you, Argentina. So expect beef prices to start going through the roof. Um, I know for my grilling on the 4th of July, I am heavily considering getting turkey burgers just because this is this is getting ridiculous. Food prices are getting ridiculous. They are trying to starve us to death. Think about this. More than half of a minimum wage workers, more than half of a minimum wage worker's first hour of work and last hour of work has to pay for 2 gallons of gas. Depending on the type of vehicle they have, that's a good portion of their paycheck too, because they're not driving the latest high efficiency vehicles if they're working for minimum wage, because they've already not had the opportunities to buy a higher end vehicle if they're working minimum wage. Minimum wage is not a livable wage anymore. They are trying to starve us out. With all of that doom and gloom, and we're already hitting the video 20-minute mark, um, I want to roll into entertainment news. So, first off, if you notice that the audio podcast is shorter than me mentioning that 20-minute mark, is because I'm going off of the video. I use a tool called Audacity to scrub dead air, so that way we get through the audio podcast faster. For those of you joining me on the video version, well, here I am. And then we can hang out. You can see my expressions, you can see me processing, and therefore I don't feel the need to be cutting dead air as much. Previously I did, but in finding that tool in Audacity, I would prefer to use my time more effectively, like sleep or game or see Hellcat. So there's another nice transition. Hellcat and I went and saw He-Man, like I was mentioning on the 31st. It was glorious, guys. You haven't had a chance to see He-Man, and here I rant about money and how rough it is right now. But similar to how some people will go ahead and spend the $7 on a coffee for their sanity, for their energy, I'm willing to spend $12 on a movie ticket for some peace of mind, some hanging all my worries on the armrest for a couple of hours and basking in my childhood. Because He-Man is a part of my childhood. And they did a wonderful job with that movie. Phenomenal, even. I would love to see a sequel. My gut says a sequel will probably not happen. My gut says that Mandalorian and Grogu will probably not see any more sequels or any more big movie projects from Disney. Star Wars might be slipping into TV story territory now, animated story territory now. Also fine, also fantastic, but the sales numbers so far on tickets haven't been there for either of these movies. The next big one to see is, wow, Supergirl in what, 23 days, something like that, June 26th. That one also looks phenomenal and fun. And anybody upset about her being dressed as Supergirl instead of Power Girl, well, clearly you're just objectifying. Don't get me wrong, Power Girl has some excellent stories in like Justice League Unlimited, and I believe she even shows up in the Harley Quinn comics. But if you're just going to a superhero movie with a female lead looking for something, you're in the wrong fandom. Superheroes are for everybody. And they're meant to inspire. They're meant to make us want to do better, be better, live up to the standards that they personify. At least for me. Brand New Day then comes in July. And there's some really good looking movies between then and there that honestly I will probably wait for streaming. But in the last 9 days, there have also been some gaming announcements. The Summer Game Fest happened, an Xbox Game Showcase happened, and there was even a new Nintendo Direct. God of War Laufey has been announced. And the first thing that comes to mind, and I was talking to Hellcat about this earlier, is that people seem upset that it's a female lead and that it's a spin-off movie. Guys, this happens chronologically during the events of the two PS5 God of War games. They are using or was it PS4? One PS4 and one PS5? I'm not going to look it up. But it's using the assets that they've already created, and they are going to roll into telling another amazing story. Sounds awesome. I personally will probably not end up playing it, just like I haven't played the God of War games, because I am a single parent household that works full time, and my time priorities are the kids, work, and Hellcat. Not in any particular order, but life comes at you. So maybe that is a particular order. I don't know. But they're all important. And I would rather be using my limited time to create quality memories. Marvel's Wolverine was announced and is open for pre-order. Mordecai actually pre-ordered it with his birthday money because his birthday just happened. Congratulations, Mordecai, on becoming an air quote adult. Final Fantasy VII Revelation, the final game of the Final Fantasy VII remake trilogy, is now coming in the spring of 2027. I have yet to complete Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth. I need to get started. Remember how I was talking about time priorities? I also enjoy blogging still, so I need more time. I just need more time. I would love to be able to start diving into playing Final Fantasy series from start to finish, inserting 7 into that mix with this remake trilogy. We'll see if that ever happens. The Ninja Turtles and Brawler project is still going strong. Eventually, that footage will make it to the blog. I did just finish scheduling 2024 in its entirety of pictures. So now we're moving on to 2025's content. So, hey, I'm only a year and a half behind. Not too bad. All right, this last one I want to double check. Last, wow. Okay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin will be an action RPG with semi-open world. That's that's pretty darn cool. I got for my birthday the Last Ronin graphic novel set. Again, too much good stuff coming out. I would love to pick up all of these wonderful books that I have received in the last period of time. And here I am just sitting on a podcast instead. But you share your time how you see fit. I don't have any regrets at all. Speaking of spending time, we played some Repo in the last week and some Mario Party, and then some Take Two. It Takes Two. Now, this is a new one showing up in the rotation. I didn't realize I had a license via PlayStation Plus for this one, but there it was. So it's like, oh, download. And Sleepy and I dove into it last night, and I thought it was fantastic. I am looking forward to going in there with Sleepy some more when time allows. That's a theme of the episode. When time allows. But it's a cooperative puzzle platformer. That's a mouthful, isn't it? But it's been fantastic so far. Um, I won't say any spoilers just because spoilers, even though it's been out for a while. And I am running out of steam. So I will call it here. I feel like there was another game we played, but I can't think of it at the moment. Mario Party and It Takes Two definitely dominate the thought processes, though. You want a test of your relationship game. It Takes Two will do it. Let me tell you. But personally, I think I'd have fun playing it with Hellcat. We would laugh and cringe and pass controllers around probably. Oh dear. There's a yawn. I'm pretty confident we'd have fun. I'm going to close this out. Episode 247 of the Flameflash.net podcast. Remember, friends, my words are my own. I'm not sponsored. And freedom and autonomy are the rights of all sentient beings. Stay safe out there. Podcast at flameflash.net or leave a comment where you find me.